Hello and welcome to the channel, it's Irad, and so the time has come to finally give me my first impression of Starfield. I know I've already made the first impression of Starfield, but this time I have spent 15 hours since its release in early access, so I know it's not a lot given its immense potential that we can really feel from the get-go, because this game very quickly gets overwhelming. The more you get into it, the more overwhelming it gets, just given how many possibilities there are. Everything just seems so infinite. It's absolutely breathtaking. So, is Starfield the perfect game? I'm going to go straight into the point here by giving you that answer. It is no. It has a few flaws, I would say. Flaws that I don't think are game-breaking, but that have indeed been quite off-putting for quite a few people out there. So I just wanted to talk about these as well, just to be clear here and give a warning to as many people as possible, before then talking about some of the strong points that I've been able to identify. But first, I want to talk about the graphics of the game here, which are at the maximum on the PC. I play in Ultra, and quite frankly, I don't know if it's because I don't have an AMD graphic card. I play with an RTX 3070, but I had a feeling that I'm playing a game that's been released about 5 years ago. So when you are launching Starfield, do not expect to be visually impressed. Yeah, the game is beautiful because developers at Bethesda have made wonders with game world creation, but when it comes to visual fidelity, visual quality, don't expect to get something at the level of Star Citizen or even Elite Dangerous for that matter. As far as I'm concerned, that does not disturb me at all, because that's not the biggest point of Starfield, which we're going to come back a little bit later. But I do understand if that is off-putting indeed for quite a few people. Next, we'll talk about some of the other flaws of Starfield, which really are annoying, and they're not ruining our gameplay experience, but they're definitely not quality of life experiences though. And I think, for example, one of them being the map, because there is no map. The only map we have is the star map, but that's basically it. When you are planet side, you don't know where you are. The planets themselves just have vague icons that gives you an approximative idea of your location, but that's basically it, and I think that this is quite unfortunate. Also, I want to talk about the difficulty of the game here, which sometimes is a little bit too simple. You find some ore, well, just shoot your laser and it's going to automatically fragment and you will be able to pick up everything automatically. You want to open the lock, just put the good openings at the good place, and that's basically going to be it. And the flight model is basically Freelancer, which has been released in 2003, so there you go. For me, it's not really a problem because, well, it allows me to move on to something else more quickly. These activities are not the core of the game, but nevertheless, if you're looking for something a little bit more in-depth, then that's not something that you're going to have in Starfield. Now, of course, if you like a simulation, then I'm going to say it again one more time. Starfield is not a simulation, it is a role-playing game, and it is in that particular field that the game excels, in my opinion. So right now, these are the only thing that kind of bother me, but again, these are the impressions of a player who has only played for 15 hours. Unfortunately, I haven't had any press copies, so it was not possible for me to go in depth before the game was released, but that's definitely something that I plan to do further along the line. If you too have critics to do about Starfield, things that you didn't like, well, let me know in the comment section down below as well. But that's everything that I have to say here about the bad things. Now let's talk about the good things about Starfield, and I think that we need to talk about how Starfield feels like there's just life everywhere, or at least where humanity decides to go. The city of New Atlantis, even though it is not very big, is full of activities, full of people going by their occupations, full of opportunities for our character as well. We got a feeling that everywhere or we lay our eyes to, there's something interesting to look at. Everywhere we lay our ears to, if you take the time to listen, there's something interesting to hear. And it's just not the only place I've been able to feel that. I went to a neighboring planet of Gagarin. It's still in Alpha Centauri. There's an outpost there. which is populated. It's kind of like a minor settlement, but still I felt the same thing, even though the atmosphere was quite heavier. And that's also something that I like there. It really feels like as we're going to various locations, we have different atmosphere that we get to experience as well, even though those are completely different. Even on New Atlantis, we still have this feeling between the contrast of the outside city and also the underworld, the underbelly of the city where the regular people are living. And this variety over there is not just for different areas of the game, because you also have a lot of variety for weapons to various items that you find in the game. It's something that you get to experience from your very first mission, where you get to find a large array of different guns, but also a large array of different foods as well that are going to give you buffs and debuffs. And again, this reinforces the sensation of immersion. Also, secondary quests, they seem to be pretty much everywhere. I've never been in a situation in which I didn't know what to do. That was quite the opposite. In fact, I've had too much choice, which is a problem too, but a good problem if I dare say so. Another positive point here, in my opinion, but I don't think that's the case for everybody out there. I've read other comments, I've watched other videos, but for me at least, I think that the artificial intelligence is quite interesting, especially in combat phase. NPCs will actively search for you when you try to infiltrate a base, for example, which can be quite dangerous. I have happened to die quite a few times trying to do bounty hunting missions, for example, or infiltration missions, which quite frankly was not something that I was expecting. Maybe I went there, I was a little bit too pretentious, perhaps, or maybe I was too used to the ridiculous NPCs of Star Citizen, which never worked. But as far as I'm concerned, I really appreciated the challenge. And last but not least, but this might be the elephant in the room here, I have only encountered a handful of minor bugs, so minor that they're barely worth mentioning. Mostly a little bit of clipping, but that's basically it. So it's really a far cry from all of the comments that I could read on my previous Starfield videos, where people were calling the studio Bugthesda, and where people warned me that the game will be unplayable at launch. I am so happy that I did not listen to them and that they were proven wrong. I am personally not a big fan of constant negativity, and being able to play a game that works and is well optimized, at least on my PC, and that lets me do everything that I want to do is fantastic. Last, we're gonna finish with the ugly. There's not much there, but I think that maybe the community will be able to create something a little bit more functional here. The one thing that annoys me is that sometimes we just cannot do things because, I don't know, it just seems like maybe we need to have access to a skill that we don't have yet, or sometimes we just don't know what to do and there's no tutorial. I just wish that sometimes when we're doing side quest missions, without doing the main quest, which is the tutorial, it tells you how to do things. I just wish that sometimes they were hints. It's just something that's not out there. But I'm just nitpicking here. It's basically the only thing that's been bothering me. That sometimes I just have no idea what to do because I haven't done the tutorial yet. So a little hint system like you would find sometimes in Jedi Survivor would be nice, but that would be the only major critic I would have to say here. So there we have it, guys. That's what I had to say about Starfield. Again, it's way too early to do a review of the game. I've only been spending 15 hours on it, but of course the more I play, the more I'll be able to share my impressions of the game. But let me know in the comment section down below, guys. Have you played Starfield? Are you going to take it? I cannot wait to read what you guys think about it. That's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please help me out with the YouTube algorithm if you like this video by sharing it, by liking it, and by commenting. Also, a big shout out to my Patreon and YouTube members, including Dr. Formidable Wolf, Zero Crusher, and Deplorable Infidel. I will see you guys in the next one. Cheers.